Hi there, Scott Hamilton, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for your ears, this time talking about the 2021 film Malignant. I did not catch this movie when it was streaming for a month on HBO Max or in its theatrical release, but I finally got to check it out when it hit Redbox. It came out on Blu-ray this week. The short version is, if you like horror movies and you've enjoyed James Wan's past horror films, you may get a kick out of this one. It's incredibly well made. It really is. $40 million budget. It's all up there. Decent actors, a lot of practical effects. But the short version is, I think your mileage will vary on how much you give into the MacGuffin, the twist, the what's really going on. I don't know. I'm going to dance around it for now, but I will get into spoilers in the rest of the review a little bit because I have to talk about it. But if you don't want to, it's an incredibly well-made horror movie that it's at 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm shocked it's that high. And it's not, like I said, it's well acted, it's well made. None of that's bad. It's just I can't get into why. So we'll do that in the second half of this. So anyway, the short version is, you may like this, you may not. Here's what I told a friend of mine. You're really going to enjoy the first 15 minutes. They blew me away. Then you enjoy the mystery, which I really like. And then when you figure out what's going on, and for me, it was a lot earlier than for most people, I think. I figured out what was going on, and I went, oh, really, that? Which we had kind of, there's been some other movies that have almost done something similar. But anyway, and the title is a little bit on the nose. But anyway, if you like horror movies, you like James Wan, go watch it, stream it, rent it. I don't know if I would do a purchase, although looks good on Blu-ray. Don't know why they didn't release it on 4K, because this was a big deal for Warner Brothers, I thought, but it only made $34 million back on its $40 million budget. All right, so that's the short version. The long version is, it's the twist to the movie that I'm dancing around. So if you don't want to know the twist, tune out now and come back and listen to it. We're about 2.5 minutes into the podcast. You can just fast forward to this part now. Okay, how they describe the movie is, a woman has visions of people being murdered, and it turns out they're happening in real life. That does not tell you anything about what's going on in this movie, to be perfectly honest with you. I had avoided trailers. I knew it had gotten some good reviews, like James Wan's return to horror and all that, after, doing some other things like Aquaman, but he did do the Saw movies and things like that. So I was interested, I was intrigued, and I put it in my wish list. I wanted to see it. And I, for whatever reason, I think it was when I was moving here or whatever, when it was on HBO Max. So I completely missed that. And its theatrical run. I was literally driving across the country at that time. And then they took it off HBO Max by the time I got HBO Max back, and it just wasn't on there. And like I said, it came out on Blu-ray this week, so I rented it. If you're not doing Redbox, it's much cheaper than renting streaming. I know you have to run to a box, but I rented this for 80 cents. I had a $1.25 off coupon or something like that I got over the weekend that was still working. So, as I said in the short part, this is an incredibly well-made movie. The screenplay is by Akela Cooper, based on a story by James Wan, Ingrid Basu, and Akela Cooper. James Wan and his wife, Ingrid, wrote this movie. He directed it. She produced it. She's got a small role in the film. And now I'm going to get into the spoilers of it. Annabelle Wallis stars in the movie. Maddie Hassan is also in the film, and nobody else of note, really, because they're the two that kind of drive the whole movie. And Annabelle, really, the whole movie rests on her shoulders. And I think she did a fantastic job. When she first comes on screen, I've seen her in some other things, but she reminds me, if you couldn't get Jessica Chastain, they get her. But I don't mean to diss the actress. She's her own thing, and she did really good work. But the crux of it is, and every clue to what's going to happen, every clue to the twist is in the movie. So, like I said, I had not seen any trailers. I did not know what the movie's about. And 15 minutes into the movie, I'm blown away by, there's this very violent scene, and I had no idea what was going on. And I started looking things up because I'm like, what is this movie about? I have no idea. And then it gets into this mystery part of it after this bombastic opening. And Okay. I put down, I stopped reading and let me just figure it out. And then I did figure it out and I went, oh. And then as the movie cemented what I thought was going on until it finally does show you what's going on, I was like, okay. So if you get from the title of the movie, Malignant is usually a term when talking about a tumor. And there's hints in the very beginning of the movie that this girl was treated for a very, very bad malignant tumor. Well, the tumor turned out to be her twin that folded into her head that they tried to surgically excise, and they shoved the rest of it into her skull and closed her up, and she got through life with this thing kind of competing for space in her brain, and it would take over and kill people, and then she'd get it back and not remember what happened. Yeah, we've seen this kind of thing done, but not this way. A lot of practical effects on the thing in her skull, a lot of practical effects on the killing. There's very little CG in the entire movie, which I loved. And the horror elements, the fact the movie was put together so well, all of that I love. I just thought that really this was the idea you came up with, and man, it does get incredibly violent. Towards the end, there's a scene that rivals any horror movie I've seen recently with body counts and things. It's crazy. It's over the top and action filled, actually. Yeah, I think there was another way to skin this cat of a story, so to speak. The idea of having a twin in you that can take over and that kind of thing. Yes, but they did this gory body horror thing with it. And it reminded me of some of these 80s and early 90s horror movies that we don't get anymore of killer fetuses and things like that. And that's what it really reminded me of. But overall, like I said, when it was over, I was like, oh, it's incredibly well done. The music is good. The special effects are good. The acting is on par with any horror movie out there. The twist, I wasn't on board for it. I thought it went, that's just going a bit farther into the fantasy science fiction realm that I won't usually, take with a horror movie. But then again, spirits killing people or Jason killing people or Michael Myers or whatever. That's Michael Myers. So anyway, it was entertaining, but my opinion was conflicted during the whole movie. Like I said, the first 15 minutes blew me away. So watch that, and if you're into it, see where it goes from there. Because it does come back around to that over-the-top feeling that you had in the first 10 to 15 minutes. So, Malignant, not one I'm going to add to my collection because I don't really know if I ever need to see it again. If they somehow do a sequel or whatever, that would be interesting. But I guess, maybe, possibly. I don't know. I think the reason it didn't make a lot of money wasn't so much that people didn't like it. I think there's enough gore in the movie. I think there's enough action in the movie, enough scares in the movie that people would have walked out of the movie theater and liked it. I don't know what the cinema score was. I seem to remember seeing like a C, which is not very good. But like I said, Rotten Tomatoes had it at like 76%, which was a little crazy. Was there a cinema score on here? Metacritic is about 51. Yeah, it was a C on an A+ to F scale. C is pretty low. Post-Track reported 59% of audience members gave it a positive score. 38% said they'd recommend it. Like I said, it's got enough gore, got enough scares and that kind of thing. And they are attempting to do something deeper. There are layers to this if you want to look into that. Layers about psychosis, the whole twin controlling brain thing. I'm sure there's some science behind this story. But all in all, it just didn't come together for me on a horror movie that would be a classic. It was interesting, but like Saw 1 is a classic, whether you like it or not. It was well made, and it set up an entire franchise, but it's kind of a classic film of one of a kind kind of thing. This was trying to be that, and just, I don't know, it kind of missed the mark a bit for me. But again, incredibly well made. It's not a bad movie. It's just this twist that you'll either be on board for or you're not. And if you are, this is going to be one of your favorite movies of the year. If you're on board with the twist and the second entity in her head, storyline, I think you'll actually absolutely love the movie, but I did not. I just thought it was okay. But the good gore, good action, good scares. Well, not particularly really scary, but gross, body horror stuff, Cronenberg kind of stuff. I liked it. That part of it anyway. So Malignant, it's now streaming. It's available everywhere on Blu-ray. Didn't get a 4K release, which is interesting. But anyway, it's available now and will be on sale in a cut-up bin in about 6 months or so. Mark my words. Scott Hamilton, ROCKFILE. Check out the links below for other projects. I've got more podcasts in the pipeline, and I'm working on my home studio, so I don't have to record things in my work studio. But it does sound pretty good, though. So anyway, I hope your December is going great. You're getting ready for the holidays. Be safe if you have to travel. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing, and above all, listening.